the watering hole at that time was Bennigan's, which
in Charlotte
was in the South Park area where Flair, Tully, myself, Arn lived a little bit further out, but we all went that same route.
Would all of you guys go out? Arn, Ole?
Not Ole. Ole is Ole did his own thing, but the rest of us, we would all often have our own vehicles, and might be a bit of a race to see who could get to Bennigan's, or sometimes, depending on what the hour was in the day of the week, we would want to get there before they closed down, so that we could, once we got in the door, a little bit harder for them to shut it down and throw us out.
Now, Flair was the kamikaze king. Everyone knows this, right?
Yes.
The kamikaze.
Yeah.
What was your drink of choice?
I, back in those days, drank Bacardi rum with Coke.
Okay.
That was my favorite.
Here at Bennigan's, and if I look over to Tully, what's his drink of choice?
Tully was a beer drinker, I'm going to say. Miller Lite, maybe. And Arn was a beer drinker, too.
Lex, did he partake?
I don't remember.
All those calories. All those calories.
Yeah, being a partaker. He would hold a glass, and it seemed like he would hold it forever, and I have no idea what was in it.
Vodka looks like water. In the bar, in a Bennigan's, favorite watering hole, what are your interactions with fans in a bar? You being tested? They just coming up wanting a picture, wanting to pose?
Yeah, there was some of that, but a lot of them, as in most of those type of establishments, had somewhat of a regular clientele. So it wasn't like it was a big event to see us in there because we were there. It depends if we were there. There might be a week or so, 10 days, where we weren't there at all because of the schedule. But if we were close to town, they weren't surprised when we walked through the door, for the most part.
If there are baby faces in the same place, what is the etiquette here in 1987? Are they on their side of the bar? You're on your side of the bar?
Yes.
You're not talking?
No.
Okay. How forward were the ladies at these regular watering holes?
Oh.
In general, you don't have to speak specifics to you, but here I am with the Horsemen. What can I expect on a night with the Horsemen at a Bennigan's, where they all know us?
Flair's MO was, as soon as he got in the door, to grab the best-looking waitress and have her get a tray, not a kamikaze or a couple kamikazes. His MO was to get a tray full, and then he would look for his victims, and he would go around. And his greatest joy in life, I think, was finding young ladies and just getting them hammered. And he was pretty good at it.
Right.
And he wanted everybody to jump in with both feet. And like I say, I was a Bacardi rum drinker, and oftentimes Flair would be the first one in the door, and oftentimes I would hear him say it. He would say, Bacardi 151 for JJ, not loud enough that I could hear, but oftentimes I would hear it, or if I didn't hear it, my first move was, and I'd give me another glass of Coke, please, and I'm kind of doing this. And as long as we knew each other, that Flair would do that every night that he could, thinking that he got me.
Was he picking up the tab, like we so often hear about?
Yeah, quite often, or a lot of times we would, at the end of the night, go to settle the tab and be told there is no tab, or that somebody else had picked it up. And I remember one night we were in Hawaii, and a bunch of us went out to a restaurant, and I don't remember what the occasion was, but it was the Horsemen, and Flair ordered Dom Perignon, and one became two, became three, and pretty soon, before we were done, I think we had, I want to say, like 6 bottles of Dom Perignon. All that they had chilled were on the table. And Tom Selleck walked in and wanted to order Dom Perignon and was told there weren't any. We had drank it all. And he came over to the table and said hello, and we offered him a glass of champagne. But hey, things like that happened.
Which member is getting the most attention from the ladies?
Flair.
Is it Rick?
Yeah. I never thought of I'm not a chick magnet. That's whether it's my personality or people that meet me oftentimes take a long time to get to know me, because I guess the vibes that I give off are one of being standoffish, you know, maybe a little bit arrogant, and so people have a hard time warming up to me. So when I go into a bar, it's kind of they go to Flair because it's just he's the nature boy, and he has that type of personality that the women of all ages just gravitate to him. But every now and then, how would you say it? I get lucky.
Good. What is each member of the Four Horsemen's type? No pun intended with member. As far as one, was there someone that said, "Oh, that's going to be Rick's because she's whatever, tall, blonde, and blue eyes"? Or did they have a profile there was kind of shot for?
I don't know that there was a real profile or a thought process that went into it. I mean, Flair just hit the floor running and with the tray of kamikazes, and nobody had any idea where it was going to go from there. Tully was a bit of a ladies' man. He was very charming and very different than the persona that you might see on TV. Arn was kind of a down-to-earth, good old boy, and I'm me. I'm kind of tend to be the quiet one. And when you look around, especially like when Luger, where was Luger? Luger would be over against the wall, just standing holding his drink, kind of. And even more so than me, people didn't gravitate to him for some reason.
Interesting. What time does this chicanery wrap up here at Bennigan's?
It just, I mean, there would be a reasonable time where we wouldn't want to create enemies, and especially in Charlotte, because again, you're going to sleep in your own bed, and we have ample opportunity on the road where we're spending the night in a hotel, and when we called in the night, didn't really matter so much. I mean, I remember going to Chicago, and there was a place called Snuggeries, and these places have a tendency to change names over the years, but that's what it was called at the time, and that was our regular watering hole. And we had an old gentleman, African-American gentleman, that would be the driver of the limo every time that we came to Chicago. And he would say, "No, you boys aren't going to keep me out late tonight." "Oh, no, I'm not doing it." I don't remember his name, sadly. But he would take us down to Rush Street, and they always knew we were coming because Flair would let them know well in advance. And there were other bars. It was kind of the nightclub area. And I remember a pizza joint across the street. I would get hungry and I'd reach a point where you think, well, I got to take a break, go across the street and get a slice of pizza. But we would go into all hours of the night, and that poor old guy would sitting behind the driver's seat of the limo, sound asleep, until we woke him up. We're ready to go.